I really hate cutting on these cars, but sometimes you have to do it. So when I was taking off this exhaust manifolds here, I noticed that these studs come off. So focus right here, perfect. So this actually throws into the block and this sticks out. There's a little star pattern here. I'm not sure what it is yet. So I'm gonna try taking off the rest of these. And it'll be easier for me to slide the manifold in and then put the studs in this way. Then try to fit it in there, everything else. We'll try to do that first. They bolt off pretty easily actually. It's not bad at all. I'm just mocking it up here. I'm just gonna try to slide them down here with that stud out of the way without scratching too much stuff here, but it's inevitable to happen. It does slide in a lot easier. Yeah, these last two studs have got to come out. Make it so much easier to get them in. No, actually, I don't think it's possible to get them in here without those two studs out. Okay, well, it was worth a try. Gotta get those studs out. Alright, here's the bolts right here. It looks like they have some anti-seize on them, which is good. So before I put them back on, I'm probably do the same thing. They're a little rusted, but what's expected? It's a Ford. Alright, so I'm just gonna mock this up and see if they fit. See if I can slide it in. Moment of truth, a little nervous here because this can either save a lot of time or create a lot of problems. Oh well, the way it slid in right there looks like it's gonna fit. Let's see here, try to line this up here. Hitting something back there that I can move. Where am I? Oh, I'm hitting the brake line, which I want to redo those brake lines, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, just the brake line back there, which I can move. Other than that, it's gonna fit. It clears the gearbox and everything. Wow. A lot of room actually. It's a lot more room than I had originally with the big block, so looks like it could fit your factory. Jeez, that's actually amazing. So what was hitting back here was this little brake line here that goes up to the master cylinder. This is got to get replaced for a dual bowl down the line, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm on the passenger side now. Looks like I'm actually have way more room than the other side because there's no gearbox. So I actually don't think I need to take the studs off. I just need to take these bolts off and I can go from underneath and slide it in. So there's that. I'm really excited. I'm surprised they're gonna fit without any cutting, so that's actually amazing. So I'm really happy with that. Let's get it done. So now that we know the headers fit, I'm gonna go ahead and paint them up. It's a little rusted here, so I'm gonna scuff them up with this pad here, clean them up, and then go ahead and paint them. I'm gonna use this barbecue paint. It's up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. I heard it actually works really well. It's a lot cheaper than actual header paint and stuff like that, so let's give it a try. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this up right here on the side. I don't want to get paint on this side. Also, same thing for this O2 bung over here. Cover the threads up with some tape. Let's go ahead and paint them. So this is probably overkill here, but I'm kind of getting the exact outline of it here. I put tape over the whole thing and I'm just kind of rubbing it with a screwdriver here like this. And they it cuts up the tape so it gets the exact outline of the thing. I already did it here for this side. As you can tell, it's the exact fit of it. It's overkill, but it looks nice, even though I'm just gonna rip it off. It's probably a waste of time. Let's keep doing it. So I'm in my paint booth here, got it all hung up here. Chewy and Oso here to help me paint. Wherever Oso is, there he goes. Alright, let's start painting. So it started to rain now, which might be an issue because the hood's still off. I still have a couple things to do before I put the hood on. Yeah, I better start moving quick. I was trying to get a good camera angle here, but my shoulder got in the way, so it kind of ruined the whole shot. I ended up just using the same old gasket that I had on originally. So I saw those anti-seize on the original bolt, so I put on some new one. Well, put a whole gob on it. Kind of wasn't little. This little keyway notch here, I'm gonna go ahead and avoid starting off there and go from these other holes, just to make it easier in the long run. Hands are just covered in this crap now. Ugh. Well, in the next few clips here, you can kind of see me struggling to find the right angle where I want to get the bolts in and kind of thread them in. And it took me a long time to realize, well, this wasn't working out. I had to go from underneath. So overall, the driver's side was pretty easy to put in. It's really close to the gearbox here, but I think it's going to clear fine. It should be enough. It won't shake too much. But it is hitting that back brake line, so I am going to have to relocate that when I do the brake booster. Now on to the passenger side. So I tried my original idea, sliding from underneath, but the studs were still too long, so I got to go ahead and stop being lazy and take them off. So what I saw here is what I did not want to see at all. It was hitting the frame. So that means I'm going to have to modify the frame. So my dad and I tried bending it first, and it actually got a pretty good clearance here, as you can tell right here. But unfortunately, it still was not enough, and we had to go ahead and get the angle grinder and start cutting. So here I'll just clean up the cut a little bit here, getting rid of all the sharp edges. This is the aftermath after the cut here. Took a pretty big chunk off. I still have a lot of cleaning up to do. Clearance wise, I probably still have a little more to take off. It's still a little close to the frame. Also, taking it off and on multiple times, I did end up scratching off all the paint I just did. So I know a lot of people are not a fan of cutting like I am. So there is a way to avoid this when you do Coyote swap in F100. But that also does come with a cost. So these Fat Fender Garage headers here, they come custom made and everything to work for this kind of swap. But they're about $1,000 a piece here. So when I got my engine, I noticed I didn't have a dipstick. So I went out to O'Reilly's and got this one right here. Nothing crazy, just stock. But in order to make things look a little more fancier here, I got this. Oh, upside down. There we go. Only reason I got this is because it actually made shipping costs free in one of my orders here, where I did order a couple things for my transmission here to bolt it up. So decided, why not? Let's add this to the cart, make things a little better. So mine doesn't have a pin. How a lot of them see there's no pin in this one actually. So I'm just going to go ahead and smash this end here. With maybe you can use a vise. So I'm going to use vice grips here and just kind of squish it until I can break free this here. Well, the whole smashing thing method did not work, as you can tell. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Dremel here and kind of just grind the whole plastic part off. Finally, Jesus Christ. So now that I got that thing off, I was able to slide it in here. The only problem is this one didn't come with a pin and the other one didn't come with a pin, so it means I don't have a pin now to hold it in place. So it just kind of pops right out. See, I have this little thing that slides in with it. So this slides in and it locks in and it follows a little circle here. And this goes into here with the pin. But there's no pin, so it don't work. So for the pin wise, I ended up getting a little nail and hammering it all the way in and cutting off the excess. So basically it was nicely wedged in there so it wouldn't pop out. And look, it fits perfectly. So I have the air cleaner on here, but I'm going to mock up some radiator hoses now and some heater hoses. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the air intake and also the front cover on top here, just to get things out of the way and see how exactly I want to route things. So I decided to do the easy hose first on the passenger side here, the PCV valve. They just click in place. Can't mess this one up. Since my dad got home early from work, I decided to take advantage of some extra hands and get the hood on. Once my dad and I got the hood bolted on, we noticed that the hood was not shutting, like the hinges were like frozen open. So I sprayed some lubricant on them and we had to work it in, and pretty much it was able to close afterwards. So I've been delayed a little bit on some parts here. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and take out the battery, disconnect some wires, get rid of these heater hoses and this AC hose here, and just kind of clean things up for the new stuff that's coming in. So I'm going to try to hook up these heater lines here to this Coyote. I have a little issue here though. So with the vintage air system that I have for my AC, the heater system has this pull cable here. It's kind of like a bike cable for brakes, I guess. You pull it inside and it's going to open up the valve. The Coyote needs a constant circulation of coolant pretty much to go through, and this valve pretty much causes issues. So I had to get a little H pipe here, which I'm going to show in a little bit, to help me get a constant flow of fluid going through. Also, I don't like it running along this fender here, and it's going to have to go across the Coyote in the front. Most people actually have it running through the back and go underneath this cover here. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to make this cable bend to go that way, so I can still have it hidden back there for the most part. This isn't a show car, it's not supposed to be pretty and all, but if I can hide things, I'm still going to hide things. Put that little effort in still. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect all these hoses here, get rid of these zip ties, get rid of this little clamp here, and pretty much see if I can actually get this to go bend that way, 90 degrees. Maybe not such a hard bend, but as long as it actually is able to go hidden back there. I might be able to tighten this back here more, get closer to this clamp over here, and afterwards make a 90 degree go that way. But only time will tell, so we'll see after I get these hoses off. So this is what I was talking about here. They call it the heater control valve bypass. I guess that's the part number on top here. I got it from Power by the Hour. So pretty much simple design here. One here, and this is where the valve will be. So the valve's closed, and it's gonna be here, locked off, and this still allows constant flow. So it's still a circuit right here. Simple design, but it works. So that's all you need. Alright, so those are the two heater tubes right there, inlet and outlet. And I have the valve right here. I like to have it over here somehow. So these are sticking out way too far, in my opinion. So I'm going to try and basically get a tube that will be like a little S curve here. Will be a 90 here, 90 here. These tubes are actually able to come off the heater core. Car drove by. These tubes are actually able to come off. So I am going to go ahead and try and see if I can modify them so I can get this little 90 degree bend here. Make them shorter and have a 90 go that way. This, on the other hand, I don't know if that's gonna be too hard of a bend there to have it go that way. I have to pretty much have someone hold it here, and I'll pull the cable and see how much tension's on it. But see, it's able to do that bend there, but I just don't know how much tension on it. So we'll go from there, but looks like I might be able to hide it. Now I know you guys see this in the video here, and it's kind of bugging me. So this is a rubber seal here that goes in between like this inner fender well and the firewall, and it's supposed to kind of glue down and have like some staples into it. I didn't have the correct staple gun for it, so I kind of just glued it, hoping for it to stay. Obviously it didn't stay. So most likely I'm going to take this off and just clean it. You really don't need it for the most part, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just drill a little screw through it and put a little bolt here, couple, maybe 4 of them, going 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll hold it down. It happened to the other side too, so yeah, it's just bugging me. I know you guys see it, so just kind of want to explain what that was. So I'm taking a little break over there in the corner here, and I'm going to kind of explain what I've learned so far on the front side of the engine here, where it comes to the heater lines and the EVAP system. So the EVAP system is that little plastic clear bottle where you fill up your radiator fluid on the newer cars. I'm getting rid of that because I'm using the radiator and the overflow tank. So in order for me to do that, I kind of have to modify some things here and kind of plug some holes up. So the original heater hoses, where they go is here and here, and also there's a port down here for the EVAP system. So EVAP system has this port, and also this port, which leads here. So let's start off with the heater lines. So I went to power by the hour, and I'm replacing these two because I don't want to use these clip style things no more. I'm kind of over it. So I'm going to use these here. So I can use regular hoses, slide them over, put a worm clamp, call it a day. They have the O-rings down here too, so it seals onto the block, and that makes things so much simpler when it comes to getting hoses to work. That deletes the whole clamp system over here, which finding a radiator hose was complicated down here. I'll explain that later. So that solves that issue. So now the EVAP system, there's 3 ports, like I said, that I need to plug up. So this one's solved now because of that adapter I got by power by the hour. And now I have to solve this one and this one. Sorry, car just drove by. So this one right here is gonna get plugged up by this little, it's called EVAP Delete Coyote, pretty much was what it's called. By power by the hour, it says Coyote on it. It's really nice. Has the O-ring here to seal it and everything, so it works really good. And here's a part number, I guess. There you go. So that pretty much replaces the whole sensor in this tube here. That plugs that. That's solved. This one, on the other hand, is a little bit more complicated. So this hose pops off, and I have this little housing here with the little it's a little hose coming out of the top of it, which I can either plug up or I can use for my advantage kind of thing. So a lot of people kind of crush it and wiggle it out because it just kind of pressure fitted in. And they put like a bleeder valve on it so they can bleed the system. I'm not going to use it for a bleeder valve. I'm going to try and use it for a temp sensor because I want to be able to run gauges here still. So that's kind of my plan of attack going forward, at least starting off here. Basically, replace these two things. That solves that whole clip system in this hole. Plug this one up with this bracket here. Solves this hole and this sensor. And then this one, I'm going to have to take apart pretty much this whole upper radiator hose assembly here, drill that out, clean it up, and tap it so I can put a sensor on there. And that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the easy one here right on top, and just go ahead and delete this little sensor here in this port. So here's the original one here. See, it has a little O-ring down here, and then this little port for the EVAP, and then the plug for it. So this is getting replaced by this. Nice and simple. It's way lighter. Yeah, weight reduction on a truck. Nice. Really need that. And it says Coyote on it, so nothing too crazy, but small victories. We'll take it. So I just want to compare them again real quick. Here's our OEM factory one, the O-ring, the clip style, really long, and then here's the power by the hour one. O-ring, the bolt goes through there, and then just slides right on the worm clamp. So I prefer this over this. I'm pretty sure you probably could have popped this off and slid it on, but more premium, kind of just not going cheap but not going too expensive, just a fine middle ground for it. Now it's time to take off that little nipple on top, and trust me, it's a pain in the butt. So I was looking in the scrap bin here, and I found my old temperature gauge sensor here from my old engine, and I decided to go to Harbor Freight and get this 60-piece tap and die set. I found the thread. It happened to be a 1/8 27, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and put it right here on this top port here. Slides right in there, perfect size, just got to get it threaded. Let's go ahead and get that done now. So I was having a hard time finding the upper radiator hose here, so I went out and got an adapter from Power by the Hour. It just slides on and clips in place, just like factory, and went out and got a 90-degree hose here, but the sizing was a little different, unfortunately, so I used my heat gun here that my papa had, and pretty much expanded the hose a little bit so it slipped on place. And once it was slipped on place, it was time to put the clamps on. Now it's time to put those heater hoses on. Also, install the H-pipe. So to get 90-degree bends in these hoses here, I used some pipe benders from like brake line kits and a heat gun and a zip tie to hold it in place. Heat it up, spray some water on it, did it a couple times, let it sit overnight, and you get a 90-degree bend. So I'm making this bend here to go to the center of the engine bay here, and the tubes are the same length, but since I'm going into the other tube, it's pretty much causing me to have issues where it's hitting the other hose. So I'm going to go ahead and shorten this tube here. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. I know it has this little lip here where it's supposed to be able to like cause it from not leaking as easily, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it and put a clamp on it and it should be fine. It shouldn't leak. So this is what I have so far. Obviously this will be clamped down somewhere over here against this fuel rail here, and the cover's going to cover all this. I don't have clamps on it yet because I'm kind of mocking things up still. I haven't run back here to where the switch valve is for my heater. So I'm going to work on these bends still. There we go. Work on the bends still. Get the heat gun on them more with that tube in there, and get those bends more hard fixed in there. I don't know. Not too sure if it'll still be a clean look in the end, or if it'll just be too congested here in this corner. Kind of still mixed feelings on it. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any other options, instead of maybe have it like I'll originally have it come down here and then jump across, which isn't as it's alright, but I don't know. Just trying to have less things jumping across from the fender wells. Let me know what you guys think. So here it is with the cover on it real quick. So like I said, you can't see any of that. All that you can see is this valve here, and the valve still moves pretty cleanly and just runs back there. It's actually kind of growing on me. I actually don't mind it. I know there's probably so many better ways to do it and hide these things, but I still wanted to be able to service it and make it more reasonable. Don't have to go too crazy trying to find that even line between the two. Let me know what you guys think. So I'm still having some hard time finding out on the lower radiator hose, so if you guys have some ideas, help me out. Also, I finally got the wiring to come in, and it's gonna be an absolute spaghetti mess. But anyways, if you guys like what you see, please leave a like, go ahead and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.